Hello trader, welcome back to this new weekly market outlook video where we prepare for the upcoming week. I will share with you the level I will look for on my plan for this week on major dollar pairs and some commodities. Last week I was not able to upload a new weekly market outlook because I was sick. Today I am feeling better, so I think I can start again uploading new video and making new video. Okay, so let's start with the economic calendar for the upcoming week. So what do we have? We have election on Japan. I think is happening right now on Sunday, which will be very interesting to see how Japanese pair react after the election. So we will see. On Monday, what do we have? Nothing special. Yeah. Tuesday, I'm going to keep my eyes on retail sales on USD, US dollar. On Wednesday, the most important thing is the NFP. Yes, the NFP was delayed because we supposed to have NFP last week, but we didn't have it. I think it's because of a shutdown. It's not a shutdown like we used to have in at the end of the last year, but this is a mini shutdown. I think yes, partial shutdown. You can see in United States. So that's why we didn't get NFP last Friday. So they report it on Wednesday. So I'm gonna pay attention of that on it. We have the usual crude oil inventories. On Thursday, what do we have? We have the GDP, pretty much all the growth data on United Kingdom. I'm gonna keep my eyes on it clearly on growth data on United Kingdom. Interesting. Then we have the usual unemployment claims. We have the natural gas. I will show you in the minute because I have some position on natural gas. So I'm gonna keep my eyes on this data this week. And then Friday, the most important news will be the CPI on USD, the CPI on the US dollar. We have also the CPI on the CHF. Okay, so that's it. Not a bunch of news, but that's the news. I will keep my eyes on it. Okay. So let's start with the most important chart, which is the DXY, aka the dollar index. What do we see is dollar index is very tricky. In the monthly time frame, we can see we still have this channel where the price is currently. We can see price is at the bottom of the channel, overlapping with this demand. This is the monthly demand which support price currently. So that's don't allow price to fall. So that's why I said I will not be super bearish on US dollar until we broke this monthly demand. Until this monthly demand is invalid. Okay. Let's go down to the weekly. The weekly we kind of have a range. We saw last week we have a rejection. We didn't close below this low. You see, this long week prove that there are some buyers who get in and buy dollar. Let's go to the daily. So my daily order flow, my current daily order flow is bearish. You can see I'm bearish from this high to this low. But remember, we still have this monthly demand, which is holding price. That's why I'm not super bullish and also not super bearish on US dollar. I think we will get a clear direction on US dollar if we break, for example, this high, even this high, we could see a new direction forming, or as I said, we return around this supply and maybe we form another lower low and we remove this monthly demand. That's where I will see very bearish on US dollar. Until then, is 50-50 for me. But let's go down to the 4 hour. On the 4 hour, what do we have? We have this order flow daily from this high to this low. For this week, we can see we have a bullish order flow. Bullish order flow. I think because we have a daily order flow, and I like to follow the daily order flow most of the time. That's what worked for me. So I expect something like this on short. I want to see price came to this supply and then short US dollar. That's my plan for short US dollar. My plan from buying is maybe expect price touch this demand zone, even lower this demand zone. So that's pretty much my plan on US dollar. The next one is Euro USD. So because I don't have a clear bias on US dollar, Euro USD, let me see. Euro USD, we still rejecting this supply zone. You see, this order block. We are rejecting this because of the rebound of US dollar. So what do we have? We still have this monthly order flow. You can see this is the monthly order flow. Let's go to the weekly time frame. On the weekly time frame, what do we have? We have pretty much, yeah, this as my weekly order flow. You can see this is my weekly order flow. Last week we closed bearish. You can see with the rebounds of the US dollar. The daily, I still have my daily order flow. You can see high, low, high. This is my most recent daily order flow. So I'm bullish on Euro USD until we break. I'm still bullish on Euro USD until we break this low, this daily order flow. Okay, but what do we have on daily order flow? I still have a demand here. You can see it clearly on 4 hour. No, we have this demand. This is a daily demand here, overlapping with the point of control from the last month. We also have the point of control from the last year, which could be had as a strong support. And what can we see? We can see price is currently hovering on discount price. We see price is currently below the 50% of this Fibonacci retracement. So we are in a good spot to buy Euro USD again. Currently, what do we need to validate a change of structure to the upside? We still have this, you can see this 4 hour order flow, which is bearish. I want to see a break, a change of the 4 hour order flow to start buying Euro USD again. Okay, because my 4 hour order flow will realign with my daily order flow. That's why I find my most profitable trade. Pretty much bullish on Euro USD, but I will not exclude we can see another drop of the Euro USD at least to this daily demand before going higher. Okay, the next one is GBPUSD. So GBPUSD in weekly time frame we are bullish. Clearly we are bullish, forming higher high, higher low, higher high. You see, we, as I said, I mentioned it in my very last weekly market, to pay attention to this level. What is this level? Well, this level is pretty much, if we go to the 12-month time frame, I said it in the beginning of my market outlook series, to pay attention with this imbalance. We see we have rejected many times. You see this level, this imbalance. So I said I will not be surprised if we reject another time this zone. So that's what we got last week. We get some rejection here. This is caused by the rebounds on US dollar, and plus the fact that we had interesting monetary policy data last week. I think it was February 5th, on Thursday. The interest rates, which was held by the Bank of England, but most important thing is the vote. The vote is reported in an XXX. The first number is how many members vote to increase interest rate. We get 0 member want to increase interest rate. The second number is how many vote to decrease the rates. So we get 4 members who want to decrease the interest rate compared to 2 as expected. So which is very dovish for the GBP. The market read this data as a dovish. That's what we can understand That's why we retrace even further on GBPUSD compared to EURUSD. So, but in daily time frame, we still have a daily order flow bullish from this low to this high. We are currently in a discount zone of this leg, daily leg, so which could be a nice zone to buy, but I'm not really very enthusiastic to buy GBPUSD because of the dovish data we get on monetary policy last week. So anyway, we can see we clearly have a 4-hour order flow bearish from this high to this low. So you can see we didn't touch the point of control of the last year. We also have a demand right there. So I will not be surprised if you see another retest and another drop of the GBPUSD to the downside because the GBP is weak right now. So I will be bullish again on GBPUSD if we break this previous 4-hour order flow. If we form a new higher high, then I will be bullish again on GBPUSD. Until then, the order flow on 4-hour is bearish. I need some confirmation or maybe something like that. Another leg to the downside. We touch this point of control. We break the previous order flow 4-hour, and then I will be buy GBPUSD again. But yeah, right now we will see. The next one is AUD/USD. So AUD, fundamentally we still have Australian dollar very strong. That's why we keep pushing to the upside like that. So let's go to the weekly time frame. Weekly time frame, we have a weekly order flow bullish from this low to this high, this current high. So on daily, what do we have? I have my daily order flow bullish. So I have the weekly order flow bullish, the daily order flow bullish, which is very bullish. And if I drag my Fibonacci from this daily order flow, the last daily order flow, we can see we didn't even touch the 50% retracement of Fibonacci, but we retest the 38.2% of Fibonacci, which in some case can be used when the trend is very high. Is when the trend is very strong, excuse me. So sometimes when the trend is very strong, market will not retrace always on the 50%. So I will be very careful on this zone. But for me, if we go to the 4-hour, let me get rid of that. I have, you can see I have some kind of a pattern forming here, a flag pattern. Clearly, you can see. So for me, I want to see a break of this 4-hour order flow to the upside to confirm this price want to go higher. Okay, but it's very difficult for me to sell this market because of the fundamental perspective on Australian dollar and the weakness on the US dollar actually. So for me, I will prioritize the buy. It's very difficult for me. Maybe if price decide to break this low, maybe that's why I will be a bit bearish. But right now, even with this movement, I'm still bullish. So I will keep my eye on this level, point of control. If price could give me retrace around this point of control from the last week, and maybe there find a setup in lower time frame to buy again, targeting this as my buy side target. Okay, for the week. The next one is NZDUSD. So NZDUSD, pretty much the same as the AUD, very strong economy right now, but I think the Australian is more stronger than the NZD. So the Kiwi dollar, what do we have on weekly? We still have this structure. You see, we have this weekly order flow. We have a retest here, and we are going targeting this high. You see, so I'm bullish on NZDUSD. We can see on daily order flow. We still have, can see the last daily order flow is bullish. It's the same thing as AUD. if I took my Fibonacci and measure this low from this low to this high, we see price didn't retrace at the 50% of Fibonacci, but retrace at the 38.2% of Fibonacci, which could be enough in some case. In some case, as I said, if the trend is strong enough, uh, we don't need price don't really need to retrace the 50%. So I will see it on this week what happened, but if I go to the 4 hour, it's the same thing and as the AUD. We have some kind of pattern, flag pattern forming here. All I want to see is pretty much a break of the previous 4 hour order flow and then start to buy again. Okay, so that's pretty much my plan on NZDUSD. I'm waiting for a buy position. We still have this demand which react perfectly. If we have another touch here, maybe I will buy again. Okay, but I'm still bullish on NZDUSD. The next one is USDJPY. So USDJPY, I will be very careful because we have, as I said at the beginning of the video, we have the election happening right now in Japan. So we could expect some movement at the Monday opening. So anyway, we are still bullish on monthly because Japanese is still weak. We have the last intervention of the Bank of Japan. We get, if I show you the Japanese basket, this index, let me zoom in. See, this is where we get the Japanese and the BOJ, the Bank of Japan intervention. I was expecting a retracement, the start of a retracement of the Japanese yen, but we didn't get that. We have a fake movement to the upside. It's the intervention of the Bank of Japan, and then yen start to sell off again. So yen is very weak right now. That's why I'm still bullish on USDJPY. I will show you. So we have the weakness of the USD. We also have the weakness of the Japanese yen. So it's very difficult to trade the USDJPY right now. But technically, what do we see? We see we got a supply right there. You see, strong movement to the downside, breaking structure, leaving a gap behind. This is the characteristic of a supply. So I will keep my eyes because price is currently approaching this zone, this supply zone. I will keep my eye this week. If I go to the 4 hour, I will keep my eyes open. What will happen around this zone? We also have the point of control from the last month overlapping with this supply. We can also mark up this level as an order block. Yes, this is pretty much an order block. You can see. I'll go to the line chart. So for this week, I will pay attention on what will happen in this supply. If we get a signal to the downside, I will short USDJPY. Maybe a quick short with an aggressive stop loss. When I say aggressive stop loss, for example, imagine I take an entry there, stop there, and a target maybe there. If price move, give me a signal, start breaking structure in lower time frame to the downside, and give me a one-to-one risk reward, I will move my stop quickly to break even because we are bullish on a higher time frame. You see, so this will be considered for me as a counter trade. So that's why I will be very aggressive on my, if I find it straight setup to the downside. Okay, so I will keep. The next one is USDCAD. So USDCAD, what do we have in USDCAD? So you can see we have this movement as my monthly order flow from this low to this high, but we still bearish. Why? Because we are rejecting this imbalance zone right now. If we go even in 12 months, remember we still have, you see, we are in premium zone of this 12-month order flow. You can see Price is currently in premium zone. So what do we expect in premium zone? We expect a sell on premium zone. So that's why I will not really take attention of this monthly order flow, but I will really pay attention on this weekly order flow. You can see we have this high, this low, high, another lower low forming. You see, this low is lower than this low. So this is my weekly order flow. My weekly order flow is bearish. We have, you can see, we have some imbalance here, which I will use to maybe find a setup to the downside. So maybe I want to see price return around this imbalance and find a setup to the downside. So let's go to the daily. We can see daily order flow from this high to this low. If I take my Fibonacci tool, so we already tapped the 50%. So for me, the weekly imbalance is still higher. So let's go to the 4 hour. I want to see price return around this weekly imbalance, and then from there find a setup to the downside to continue this downtrend. Okay, but the next instrument, the next pair is USDCHF. So USDCHF is still bearish, very bearish. We can see from this high to this low, high, low. The monthly order flow is bearish, clearly. Let's go to the weekly. Weekly is the same. Weekly is bearish from this high to this low. Let's go to the daily. The daily, what do we have? The daily, we are also bearish from this high to this low. So if I take my Fibonacci from this high to this low, you can see let me zoom in. We didn't tap the 50%. I want to see price to return at least above this 50%, ideally in this supply zone, and then find my setup to the downside. So scenario in 4 hour is we have some demand here. If we get some strength on US dollar, maybe I don't know, we have NFP this week and we have strong jobs data this week. Another scenario we could see something like that. Price start to drop on sell side at the beginning of the week, and strength coming from the US dollar can push price to the upside toward this supply zone. Okay, so this will be my two scenario: a sell side then and a buy side, or a buy side and a sell side. But the next one is gold. Gold is still very bullish. You can see we pretty much this month we pretty much test this level. We can see we test this level and reject again this support. Let me show you this support. We test it. See, go to the weekly time frame. We have this level and markup in the higher time frame. We are currently rejecting this, very much an order block. This sell before the buy is an order block. We retest this. Let's go to the daily time frame. Daily time frame, if I take my Fibonacci from this low to this high, because this low is the start of my most recent daily order flow, we can see we pretty much retrace the 50%. We are retracing into the discount zone, which is pretty much we have seen a lot of buyer getting. So let's go to the 4 hour. What do we have in 4 hours? So my plan is pretty much, I don't know if gold is ready yet to go to another high, but one thing I am very cautious is this imbalance, which is holding price right now. You see this imbalance? This is the imbalance which is holding price right now. So I'm very cautious. I could see another rejection of this imbalance to the downside. That's why I'm not buying yet. But if I go to the 4 hour, We have this point of control from the last week. Here we pretty much break above and retest last week. Seems like maybe we are ready to go, but for me the most conservative trade will be when we break this high. So I will wait another break of this high, maybe a retest, and then I will take my entry around here on this retracement. Okay, so that's pretty much my plan on gold, but we know that gold can go even very fast. For example, we can see a break of this high and never retrace, and going very strong to the high is a possibility. We have seen it plenty of time, a lot of time on happening on gold. But I prefer to wait the break of this high because we still don't know if this trend, this downtrend is finished. You see, we also can see something like that, a reverse to the downside, and then a new setup to the buy side. That is a possibility. So that's why I'm just waiting this high to be break for me to get in a buy on gold again. Okay. The next one is silver. On silver is pretty much the same as the gold. We pretty much retrace more than gold on silver. Let's go to the weekly to see it clearly. My last weekly order flow is starting from this low to this high. You see we pretty much retraced to the discount zone. You can see we have some rejection there, some buyer enter again on silver, but I don't want to be a high buyer and get stop out. My plan for the silver is to wait pretty much the same thing on gold. We have this order flow 4 hour. I want to see a break of this order flow 4 hour and then get engaged on silver again on buy. So if I don't see it, I will not take the trade because we still have the possibility that price came there and retrace from another lower low, which will be bad if we buy it early. Okay, we could get stop out. So that's my plan. I will be very conservative on gold and silver, waiting the break of the last 4 hour order flow, and then find a setup to the buy side. Okay. The next one is US oil. US oil, which is still bullish. We know that based on the last data we get in inventory, we pretty much have 2 successive weeks of demand. You can see the last 2 weeks was we still have demand on crude oil inventory, plus the fact that we still have the tension in Middle East. You know the situation happening in Iran, between Iran and United States. So all those events participate on the rise on US oil. But what can we expect for this week? We still have this bearish structure. You can see I have the weekly order flow starting here. Let me mark up my weekly order flow. Oh, I already mark up here. You can see from this high to this low, we pretty much we didn't touch the 50% of Fibonacci. We still have a match to touch the 50% of this retracement, so which could represent the top of the channel also. So but we have this level which is holding price, is a strong level. In fact, that's where I took my profit from my last trade on US oil. If you see my last video or my last story on US oil, I pretty much get a trade here, close partial here, and take the final profit here, which was a very good trade. So what do we expect for this week? I think if we go to the weekly, you can see we pretty much get an indecision candle last week. Clear. So let's go to daily. To daily, we still have a daily order flow from this low to this high. We retrace pretty much at the discount zone. So yeah, and we didn't tap the 50% of Fibonacci, which represents the top of the supply. We already react the supply. If we use my order flow daily, if we didn't break this daily order flow in the upcoming week, I will expect this to continue higher, at least to this 50% zone, which represent the premium zone on my weekly order flow. This order flow. Okay. So that's pretty much my plan on USO, but based on the weekly close, this is an indecision candle, so I will not be surprised if we start to see a range, which is already the case, a range between this level. Okay. But in any case, we still have demand on US oil as long as we still have the tension in Middle East. I'm still bullish on US oil. The next one is natural gas. Let's finish with the natural gas, which I took a trade last week. I am very negative right now. I'm in drawdown, as you can see. This is my entry here. I enter here because I was expect a gap on the Monday opening, but we get the opposite. This is very sad for me, but I'm still holding because we still have demand on natural gas. Last data was down 360 billion cubic feet, which is lower than expected, but it is higher than the previous one. So technically, we still have demand on natural gas because of the fact that we are in winter storm, we are in winter season. As long as the winter season is not finished, I believe we still have demand. So, but the last data was pretty much less than expected, which affect the demand a little bit. But for me, this number, with this number we still have demand because is even though it's lower than expected, we still have a high demand based on what we have in previous week. Okay, so that's why I'm still in this trade, even though I am in drawdown. I'm still in this trade. So let's go to the 4 hour. 4 hour, we pretty much ranging. You can see we are ranging right now. So expect another drop, maybe a touch on this demand. If I see another signal, I will add some in my position to get a better entry on natural gas. As I said, my target will be this level as my first target on buy side. Second target will be this level. Okay, and final target is here. So I'm holding this position in swing position. So let's see what will happen. Okay. So that's it. This is the end of the video. Please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. This will help me know that you appreciate my content. Thank you for watching. Have a nice trading week and be careful on the market. It was Josue, the part-time trader. I'm out.